Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Paolo Emilio, a very special ship in World of Warships, or perhaps better known as the Yolo Emilio, as that's what this ship does. It's about all it can do, to be honest with you, so if you're interested at all in this ship, you should get it. Just straight up. If this playstyle doesn't interest you, do not get it. This is maybe the easiest ship to recommend or to not recommend to people. If you're at all interested in trying to find island cover flanking positions to get up close and personal with enemy ships and launch a face full of torps to dev strike maybe 2 or 3 targets all at once here, it's a good time when you get this situation. You're going to notice this is not a random battle. And that's because I think this ship specializes in alternate game modes. In random battles, it's very, very difficult. Don't worry, this is the only clip I have for you, this game in particular, that is not a random battle. This ship, though, needs different game modes. It needs incentives for the enemy team to push into you. Otherwise, if you're trying to push in to an enemy team that's already kiting, that's already got its hydros popped, that there's a carrier spotting you, this ship is very, very difficult. But we'll get into that later. Let's talk about the good. The good here is you're very fast for your tier, tied with Mogador for the best speed of any tier 9 DD. You have a 25% engine boost, which means you can get going to some ridiculous speeds. This ship also has a smoke screen that lasts for 35 seconds base and completely covers you at this top speed of over 55 knots. These torpedoes are absolutely ridiculous, that doing over 23,700 damage each, and you get 12 of them. They also have a 67 knot base speed here. And, well, really, we only need 4 to death strike these guys. I'm a little bit worried, so I'm going to send a second set. We get the NC, and then we're going to get the Victoria here. And now that we're out of Torps, we're going to go down. That is the ship's playstyle, man, especially in the Unbreakable line game mode. This is from a little while ago, just as this event or this game mode was about to end. I knew I had to play a couple games for this video, as I knew I wanted to make a Paolo video eventually, as we're going over these research bro ships here in 2025. This being the last one, though, got a whole backlog of all the other research bro ships for you to take a look at, and very soon I'm going to do a whole tier list of my opinion on the best ones to get. We'll round everything out that way. But back to this ship, though, if this at all has looked fun to you in the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes of this video, you should probably get this one. It is 43,000 research points. Research points take a while to get, obviously, but that is among the cheapest. Tier 9s, if they decide to standardize the pricing, will all go down to 43,000 research points. So for this one, there won't be any change if that standardizing of prices thing goes through. We'll see. NC again pushing in, and again we're gonna nuke him out with Torps. Poor guy, man. And then there's a DD. How do you deal with destroyers? Well, you have sap. You have a bad reload, but that is almost 7,000 alpha damage. 7,000 from one salvo. Our reload is terrible because we're taking Swift and Silence, I believe, as well as focusing on our torpedoes here. I did try a gun build. Don't recommend that because this really is all about finding the right timing to push and then point blank launching your torps at someone. But the sap here is usable, all right? And that smoke can keep you covered. But we do need to talk about these consumables and a bit of their downside, and that being their reload. The reload on these consumables is ridiculously long, all right? I don't need them to be as fast as the Tech Tree Italian DDs, but 140 seconds on your smoke and your engine boost is a very, very long time. In fact, that almost leads me to believe we shouldn't be building for torps at all, because our base torp reload is 120 seconds. And really, to pull off these YOLOs, these aggressive plays, we need our torps to be up, we need both consumables to be up. That's really what we need most of the time. So a bit challenging. You have a long downtime in between those opportunities, and if you go in without them, you're gonna take a lot of damage. Here, I didn't care quite as much because it's Unbreakable line. We're just gonna respawn anyway. And by the way, I popped my engine boost just to see how fast I'd go. 85 knots! 85. This is not sped up footage. This is the real speed. So an alternate game mode to start off with, but I think with good reason. Paolo is a specialist in these kind of game modes. If you're interested in getting a ship for that reason, I think this is a good one. But on to random battles. We're going to try and make it work here. Running the same build, full concealment, only 7.1 kilometer detect with 6 kilometer torp range. Yeah, that is the challenge, of course, trying to get in range to use these torpedoes. If you're going to smoke at someone and charge them down, you won't be able to spot them unless they're shooting, of course, but you're going to have to rely on your teammates to spot them for you. It's a bit awkward. It's hard to find the right timings to push. That is the skill check with this ship, I think, as well as being patient when launching those torpedoes. Again, the sap doing really, really nice damage into this DD. Our reload is abysmal right now. We can get that down closer to 8 seconds, though, with a full build. The actual DPM here is abysmal. Your HE DPM is the lowest of all the tier 9 DDs at 87,000. And your sap DPM is 136,000. Adriatico's is 219,000, by the way. And I'm not a huge fan of those tech tree Italian DDs either. You have okay range on these guns. 11.3 is not too bad. And it's just that reload that is the problem. And speaking of problems, using our smoke screen while we're behind an island trying to get this cap. And that's purely because of plane spotting. All right, this Nebraska seemingly wasn't going after us. He's going after Riga, but he would have spotted us by accident. By accident, man. Like, plane spotting is so ridiculous for a ship like this one. We essentially live and die on our concealment and surprising the enemy. Our entire battle impact is purely dictated by finding opportunities to surprise people. And being forced to smoke like that with a very long smoke reload as well is so punishing. So I'm going to try and make the most of it here. We're only going to use one Torp here, and I'm specifically using the front Torp. You get 3 launchers on the Paolo, and only one of them is able to rotate to either side. So there, I was intentionally using the Torp that would be unavailable on my right, the one that is dedicated to the left flank. And that's because we're going after this Nebraska. We're very fast. We're using Dazzle as well, which speeds us up too. If he goes for the turn, I'm still not going to launch the torpedoes. Battleships at mid-tier, lower tiers as a tier 8 here have pretty good rudder shifts and especially their turning circle radius. So if I was to launch Torps here, I'm worried that I would miss them. So I really want to guarantee the Torp hits in to finish this guy off. That's the only way I'm getting away from this situation alive. Notice the New Orleans, Myoko, Blucher, they're all so far away that if we can finish this guy off, we should go dark. We have no gun bloom either because it's Torps. So we should go back to a 7.1 detect as soon as I repair this fire. Dev strike on the Nebraska, but no, I don't repair the fire yet because I see the planes coming in. Fortunately, we dodged the planes for now, and as soon as they go away, then we'll get away. It's hard to play this ship in random battles, man. If you want this ship purely for a random battle scenario, I think this is a pass, honestly. Really, this one needs specialized game modes for it. It needs brawling modes. And whether that be Unbreakable Line, whether that be mode shuffle, anything like that, I think this ship is going to do much better. Trying out the gun build. This is a different match, by the way. I got some very nice map rotation. Sarcasm. Back-to-back, same map, but trying a gun build here. That is 6,000 damage at 12 kilometers from these guns here. 8-second reload on the sap. It's okay. I mean, our dispersion is kind of meh at times. It's just standard DD dispersion. Our shell velocity is okay. It's not amazing, though. Do not run this build. I really only ran this as a test to see if I could do any sort of damage with it. Every once in a while, the salvos would look okay. Maybe once we get a little closer. You'll see from the builds as well that I actually took the smoke mod, so maybe that's why my dispersion was so trolly. Another 6,000 damage salvo, though. So every once in a while, that sap is going a little bit crazy. But taking smoke mod, trying to maximize our consumables. Feels like you have to do that with Italian DDs, especially with Paolo, because we need to get close to the enemies. That's the other problem with running a gun build. It's counterproductive to what this ship specializes in. It's like you're taking a ship that only is good at those close-range Torp launches and trying to force it to play like a Mogador and the long-range gunboat idea. It's just never going to work out for you particularly well. We get some damage in, but this is not how this ship wants to play. Unfortunately, not every match is going to support that close-range Torp playstyle. You're just going to run into scenarios where this ship is essentially going to be locked out of the game. I talk about that with a lot of ships, but this one in particular legitimately gets locked out of playing the game at all. If you try to do anything at all, you will die. And that'll be the last game as an example. It was miserable, just as a bit of a heads up. But we're still pushing in here, trying to survive, again, without our smoke screen. It's a bit challenging. I overpushed. I shouldn't have done this. But as we're about to go down, we get our Torp launch out at this Iowa. We assume he's going to turn in a little bit, so that's why we underlead him. Oftentimes when people see you, they're going to do the most drastic evasive action they can, which is often, if they're full speed, they're going to slow down and turn in or turn out. So we predict for that. He doesn't seem to do too much turn in, and because of that, these torpedoes get there very quickly. And yes, they dev strike him with 4 torps only. The alpha damage is absolutely ridiculous. Many dev strikes were had, but also a lot of games where I really couldn't do a whole lot. Full sending the Thunderdome here on this map, of course. Where else would we go? And the enemy team is wise enough to not go after us. Another 6,000 alpha damage salvo into that black there. That's crazy DD damage, burst like that. And our teammates help us to finish him off there. But yeah, the enemy team were wise to my tricks and did not full send around the corner like I was hoping. So we're going to try and go deal with the B cap here. Again, it's a DD, so since he's pushing away from us, we'll never get our Torps online anyway. So we're just going to try and use these main guns. I'm not using Swift and Silence here in particular, just because I want the extra main gun reload. Going to 11-second reload is brutal. And I think here I was actually running main gun reload still, because again, we have that cooldown. The 120 seconds for our Torps matches up reasonably with 140 seconds to our smoke and our engine boost. So maybe that's an okay build still. It does allow me to be a little more bold with the guns to approach enemy DDs, I guess. It still feels incorrect given that we just want to be torping things out. I decided to burn a smoke there. Libertad secondaries, rather scary, as we all know. Going after Hoffman, fortunately, he's low enough HP that we don't have a prolonged gunfight there that we would certainly lose. So we managed to take him out. And we get 3 solo caps with 22,000 damage in this game. It's going to be a lot of base XP, but it wasn't particularly fun. I never really got an opportunity to go after an enemy battleship or cruiser. I think you've all probably experienced the pain of Tier 9 Matchmaker these days with super ships, with experimental ships. Paolo really does struggle. I think the Matchmaker is what kills it for this ship as far as a random battles recommendation. Again, if you're interested in this playstyle, you'll still have fun. I still had plenty of games where I was able to full send it in and get that dev strike. But I also had a lot of games that looked like this, where I'm going to spoil it a little bit. There's a Rhode Island, there's a Gudin. Okay. The DD over here is a Groningen. And there's a Hildebrand. So my flank, I have to fight everything that has... There's 2 hydros, 3 hydros with Hildebrand. The Rhode Island has a radar. And the plane spotting is going to be constant. How do I fight this flank? How do I have any impact here? I am locked out of play. I cannot play the game. I've been put in jail here. So I run away, of course, and I try to go help the other flank. But then we're going to lose this flank, and then it's just going to be a steamroll. So what do I do? Right? I'm confused. Maybe it's a skill issue. Fair. Maybe it's a skill issue. Maybe I should have tried for the YOLO around the island, but then we're just essentially giving up on the match by trying to round the corner on all those guys. So many hydros, they're not going to be surprised, right? Libertad pushing in here on low HP. We're going to try and use 1 Torp there. I'm assuming he's going to try and cut into the island here, trying to predict what battleship players do. Even at these closer ranges, you still need to be doing that. But our Torps are actually going to miss. So I'm a little bit concerned. This is another reason to not launch everything all at once. We need to hold some in reserve. A Libertad at very close range. Very scary. And he's capping. Now he's stalling the cap. We know it's not the sub because we're probably within proxy detect. I assume he's charging at our smoke, but no, he's not. Fortunately, we have one more. We got to make this count. 3 kilometers. That's still quite a bit of lead. Fortunately for us, Libertad no longer has the ridiculous acceleration to let it drift. So we're going to underlead again. Again, people love to do the slowdown and turn in, especially here with the Libertad, and that's what we lead for. Fortunately, we have Dazzle, and Libertad not having the best dispersion to begin with means we actually take very little from close range against the Libertad there. If we didn't land those Torps, we certainly would have been dead. This game, quickly getting out of hand. As mentioned, we lose the C flank. And with that, our team getting boxed into a corner of the map, caught in crossfires. My A flank of this map, my team here, were not able to finish off or clean up this side of the map. So I'm going to try and make a play work. If we go and stay in spawn, waiting all the time, I mean, we do just end up losing this game. So I'm going to try and get to this island and hopefully survive here and then be a deterrent from anyone trying to push around, anything like that. We do manage to just barely make it, and we will cap it out. But we're not going to survive this battle, unfortunately. Some games are just not meant to be. And unfortunately, in this one, I'm worried about the Harlem specifically pushing around the left side of this island here. So the Hildebrand gets a free drop on me. I should just be full sending. That's my only hope here because Hildebrand drops are so quick. But I'm trying to speed juke. That was the wrong decision, obviously. But if I was to go at full speed right away, I was worried I would just be dead to the Harlem anyway. No win situation there, unfortunately. That is a particularly poor example of matchmaker for this ship. Almost worst case scenario, I would say, on that initial flank. But it can happen. And for Paolo, ever since it was released, we've only had more hydros, more radars, more plane spotting added. So for this ship, since it's released, it's only gotten weaker relative to its matchmaker, let alone things like experimental ships or super ships coming into the game too. This is a very, very difficult ship to play in random battles. And I need you to know that before you buy it, all right? It can be fun. It's still very fun when you get the right situation. Just if you only play random battles, this one is going to be a bit of a slog to try and find those few games. It's going to be quite rare, I think. Again, though, that is just for random battles. In specialized game modes, even in ranked, there's just more opportunities to try pushes and to be successful in them. I think in general, Torp boats are just in the worst state they've ever been in. Back in the day, they were incredibly strong, but these days with the amount of radars and hydros and plane spotting that's so consistently there every match, it's very hard to make them work. And for one like this one that needs to get within its own detection range, it can't stealth Torp unless it's around islands or using its own smoke screen. It's very, very hard. Very, very hard. As for your build on this ship, I think the full recommended build here works quite well for that Yolo Torp playstyle. Your guns really suffer, obviously. 11.2 seconds is crazy. Keep in mind, part of that is this 5% worse reload with Swift. But concealment and then not needing to fill the tubes or anything like that, because we have the same or similar reload time on those Torps, as well as the smokes and the engine boost here. Running this skill here. Concealable Specialist brings the reload down to pretty close with the torpedoes here. I actually ended up running steering gears mod because typically you're going to be running this ship at full speed when you're going, and having rudder is very nice. The rudder is quite slow if you run prop mod, but prop mod works quite well too. And if you can, please get yourself a smoke gen mod, because 35 seconds is pretty short for a smoke screen. 50 seconds is fine, but it's still not particularly long lasting, this smoke screen. Engine boost mod as well. Quite demanding for coal, I guess, but if you have enough research points to get yourself Apollo, you probably have enough coal to get these. And if you're going to get this ship, I do think you need to run these two to maximize this ship. It is a tough ship. It's very hard. So you need to give it the best possible chance at getting those torpedo salvos off. They are pretty interesting Torps. They do a ton of damage. They go pretty quick, but the range is just so short on them. It's a hard ship to play in randoms. But in specialized game modes, or pretty much every other game mode other than random battles, where there's just more room around the map because there's less people in the game, there's more opportunities for you to catch someone off guard, and those alternate game modes where they're temporary, you know, Unbreakable line, mode shuffle, things like this, I think Paolo is very fun into those. Still hard, but it's lighthearted fun where You're either going to go down swinging or you get the dev strike. It's a strikeout or it's a home run. Either way, you're probably laughing. And I think for that reason, this ship is well worth getting. But if you only play randoms, please don't. It's going to be a bad time. You're going to spend a lot of time grinding for those research points, and then you're going to be left feeling disappointed because the ship just isn't fun to play in randoms anymore. But that is my opinion on it. Of course, let me know in the comments down below what you think. I am not a Paolo player. I'm not someone who particularly enjoys this ship, again, for randoms in particular. But I did have a lot of fun with it when it worked, and certainly in those alternate game modes, I had a blast with it. So understanding that is very important before you buy this ship, as well as checking the comments below. People who already have this ship can let you know what they think down there. You can get a wide variety of opinions that way. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.